The internet has made it easier than ever to start a business. Succeeding on the internet, now that's another story. The big question is, what are those who are succeeding doing differently? This podcast has the answers. Welcome to the Marketing Matrix podcast. I'm your host, Lisanne Murphy, and I am so excited to be here with you today for a solo episode. This is something that I have just been compiling some thoughts and experiences over the last couple of weeks, and I'm super excited to bring to you an incredible exercise. So, guys, with the summer winding down, some semblance of school starting for some, I can't believe it, but we are halfway through Q3, quarter three. It's crazy. I hope that everyone has had an absolutely awesome summer. So, as you hear me speak about all the time, you hear me talk about how those businesses who understand who they are speaking to on a deep and psychological and behavioral level, matching their messaging to that who, they win. And by win, I mean there are some incredible things that happen to these businesses, like acquiring more clients, having greater margins on their sales, having better customers, increasing the lifetime value of clients, more joy in the fulfillment of those clients, and ultimately a thriving business. So without understanding your who, running a business is like constantly trying to drive a square peg through a round hole. It's frustrating and it just simply won't work. So this process of dialing in their who, you've heard me talk about this many times, guys. I call it dream traffic. And to figure out what your dream traffic, who your dream traffic is, and what it means to grab them and bring them into your ecosystem in your world, I call it my 3D process. We are going to literally bring dimension to your dream customer and create that dream traffic for yourself. So what are the 3Ds? We've been through this, guys. The first D is defining your dream traffic. Second is discovering where they're hanging out online. And the third is to drive them to your ecosystem. So we've gone through defining your who. We have gone through discovering where they're hanging out online. So the last piece, guys, is deciding how to drive them to your product or offering. And this is the thing that I've been thinking a lot about, and I'm super, super excited to bring you this episode. So in today's podcast, we are diving into one of the major aspects of the 3D model, the third D, decide. Decide how to drive them to your product or offering. So the deciding aspect has a couple of things to consider. I have narrowed it down to 4 specific things. And guys, if you stay to the end of this episode, you're going to understand these 4 in depth. That's going to help you know how to drive your dream traffic to your offer. Okay. A lot of people think it's like, well, you just gotta get in front of people and the traffic is already there. You just got to step in front of it. And while that's true, that is way easier said than done. So I've broken it into 4 things to really think about this. The first is you have to decide what type of traffic you're going to drive. The 2 main categories are paid or organic. Okay. Second thing is you need to define the offer that you're driving them to. Like, why are they interested in? Why are they interested in it? And it can't just be what you want them to understand or what they need to understand. It has to be what they want. Okay. Number 3 is, what is the model that you're using to deliver your offer to send the traffic to? Is it a webinar funnel to a course? Is it a webinar funnel to a phone call? Is it a high ticket offer, a low ticket offer? Like what is it? What is the business model to deliver the results and the information that you are trying to sell them? And number 4, how much do you know about your audience? Okay, guys, like when you're deciding a model for how to drive your traffic to it, understanding how much you know about your audience is a critical piece of that puzzle. So let's dive into these one at a time. So the first thing, the type of traffic, is it paid or is it organic? So I am actually going to go into an in-depth episode about this in my next solo episode, which I'm super excited about, the battle between organic and paid traffic. But here's the point. It's important to prove your system organically before you use paid traffic, okay? Unless you have 10K laying around that you're looking to do something with. Paid traffic is definitely the faster way to gain data. but it is also a very expensive way to learn. So if you have the time and the ability to learn what you need to understand how people will come into your system profitably, then take that time with organic. So what does that look like with the organic traffic? Well, you need to create the offer, get it in front of people, and see how they respond. Okay, you can do this in a variety of different ways, and it depends on the social channel that you're using. With Facebook, you have access to Facebook Lives, Facebook Stories, Facebook posts, Facebook groups, Facebook pages. There's so many different ways to get your content out there and get it in front of people and test your ideas and test to see what exactly they are wanting to be able to know how to interact with your product and if they like it or not. Okay, so there's also, you can do your own Facebook group, you can do other people's Facebook group, but there's tons of active users on Facebook. If you're on LinkedIn, posting articles and creating short info videos are a really, really powerful way. Email marketing is also a super powerful way if you know your niche with LinkedIn. If you're doing Instagram, the name of that game is lifestyle. Like, what kind of lifestyle are you promoting? Getting it out there, using hashtags to get in front of new people, leveraging influencer platforms to get your message out there. Lots of different ways to do organic traffic to prove your offer. With paid, on the paid traffic side, paid traffic is simply a way to automate an already winning organic strategy. Okay, guys, let me say that again. Paid traffic is simply a way to automate an already winning organic strategy. This is a really, really important thing to understand. If you don't have a winning organic strategy, you will spend a lot of paid advertising dollars just to find that winning strategy. And I want to share an example here. So I want to compare to one of my very successful clients who does a launch every 6 weeks to his warm audience as well as paid traffic audience to push a product. So he pushes his product through a live launch every 6 weeks, okay? He had been working in his group for a year before he implemented paid traffic. And when we implemented paid traffic, it was like throwing jet fuel on a fire that was already burning, and his ads just exploded. Like, we didn't even have to try that hard. I mean, his Facebook ads literally exploded, and it's because he already had a proven offer with that organic traffic. On the flip side, my buddy and I recently started a new program to help e-commerce Shopify store owners grow their brand. And neither of us were known in that niche. We were known in other places in the internet marketplace. And we didn't have a list or anything to go from. We wanted to do a quick launch. We wanted to prove our concept and prove our idea in a short amount of time. So we created a brand over the course of a weekend, decided to do a live webinar, and ran traffic to it. And we decided to run this webinar every week for 3 weeks to see what would happen. And we committed to spend $4,000 to $5,000 per week to get people to come onto the live and then to schedule a call. And then on the calls, we would get to know them and pitch them our offer. Now, this was a very, very fast-paced thing. Like, notice with the organic thing with this other client that I'm talking about, he built up his community for a year and he pitches to his community every 6 weeks. Whereas my buddy and I, we were on the fast track with Facebook ads, and we leveraged a launch literally every week for 3 weeks. Guys, it was exhausting and very expensive. So within a month, we spent $15,000 on ads just to learn about the market. We weren't anticipating, our biggest hope was that we would just break even. If we break even, then it was lessons well learned. And let me just tell you, that is incredibly nerve-wracking to spend $15,000 on a hope, and you hope that it's gonna work out. Now, granted, we had done all kinds of market research and we had used the experiences that we had with our current clients and private coaching clients and agency clients that we had to test these theories. And so it wasn't like we were just like throwing this random idea out on a limb to go for it. We had an educated guess, which is why we were willing to spend $15,000. But it was really interesting. And here's the thing, it did not turn out as well as we would have hoped. Okay, just in full transparency about this, guys. We had this grand idea of investing about $15,000 in ad spend and bringing back about 150. We barely broke even. And here's the truth of it. What we learned is that the marketing methods that we chose, which I'm going to go into in more in depth in just a minute, but the marketing methods that we chose, it brought in the right people that were super interested in what we had to offer, and they loved what we had to offer, but they were not in the right place in their customer journey. They were too early. They were too early in their customer journey. And so what that created is that they had all the desire in the world, but they did not have the finances necessary to join the offer that we created. So the right message to the right people, but the wrong place in their journey, and potentially the wrong offer for what their price tolerance was. That is amazing things to learn. And we learned them all in a very short amount of time with paid traffic. But because we didn't have a validated system, a validated organic strategy, we got our feet got stepped on essentially. Now, because we were experts in the paid traffic area, like that didn't stress us out because we know how to pivot and move really easily. But if you're not experienced in that, that can be terrifying. And 15 grand is a lot of money, right? So here's the thing to really make sure that you're going to win. If you're coming at this fresh with eyes, realize that paid traffic is simply a way to automate a winning organic strategy. Commit to that and commit to finding that organic strategy that will win, and then work to automate that with paid advertising. So the way that you decide whether to use paid or organic, simply time, money, and experience. Okay. If you've got the time, if you've got more time than money, go after the organic traffic strategies. If you have more money than time, you could totally go after the paid strategies, but you cannot be married to your money or to the results. You have to be married to the fact that you are buying data. And the last thing, experience, is what is your experience? If things go awry with paid traffic, do you know what to do? Do you know what to change? Do you know how to alter headlines on landing pages? Do you know how to change angles in ads? Do you know how to communicate with your ads manager or load up those ads yourself so that you can make those changes quickly and be really nimble? Those are the things that you need to really think about in order to be able to decide whether to go with paid or organic traffic. Okay, number 2, the offer that you are driving them to. There's 2 big things to consider here, guys. You have to weigh out the balance between what do they need, which is probably the core of your product, and you know that because you can see that clearly because of your expertise, versus what do they want. Okay. Like in my business, for example, I'll just be super transparent and open with you. What people need is they need a deeper understanding of their dream customer. They need to understand them inside and out. They need to identify the archetypes that they are marketing to and where each of those archetypes are in their customer journey to market to them effectively. What do people want from me? They want Facebook ads, okay? So you'll notice all of my offers are surrounded around Facebook ads because that's what people want. That is a known pain. That is something that people desire, and there's a tangible result. But you will see as you come into my coaching programs and as people become my agency clients, I do a ton of work and a ton of questioning around their dream customer and helping them understand their dream traffic. Because every client that I've ever had that understands their traffic first win. Those that don't struggle and spend tons of money allowing Facebook to try to figure it out for them, and it is frustrating and financially taxing. So it is important to separate and consider, what do people want versus what do they need, okay? You have to sell them what they want and then give them what they need. All right? So it's important that in your process with this, you avoid program mechanics, okay? You have to sell them on a belief, sell them on a result, because the mechanics we get obsessed with mechanics. Like, oh, it's a 12-week program. What are we going to do in week 1, week 2, week 3? When really people just want to know that they can get the result that they're seeking and that you're there to help them. That's really all they want to know. So make sure that that is what is communicated in your offer messaging. So how do you decide between what they want versus what they need? As you're drawing them out organically in Facebook groups or with your posts on your profile, see where they are in the outline. in my last episode, I talked all about this, but ask them what they want and how it relates to what they need. I'm always shocked whenever I poll my audience and I ask them, like, what do you want to learn about? Like, they never say the things that I think, right? Like the number one thing that people say that they want with Facebook ads, I'm being just like crazy honest and vulnerable here with you guys. I hope that you guys don't mind that. What the number one thing that people say they want with Facebook ads is they want to know how to not get their account shut down and how to stay out of Facebook jail, or how to get out of Facebook jail if they do. That is the number one question that I get. Guys, is that the thing that I like talking about? No. Is that the most important thing to the success of Facebook ads? No. Is it a fear-based mentality? Yes. But is it something that everyone is concerned about and they want to make sure that they have under control in order to run Facebook ads effectively? Absolutely, every freaking time. So I am going to do a masterclass on Facebook basics in a few weeks. I know I've been teasing that, but I really am going to do it this time, guys. One of the first days I'm going to do is it's going to be all about how to stay out of Facebook jail and how to get out of it if you're in it, because that is something that people want. Now, the rest of the days are going to be more focused around what people need to succeed with them. But if I don't deliver what people want, then they aren't going to be interested in what I have to offer. Okay, number 3, model. What is the model that's delivering your offer? Is it a webinar or a VSL, video sales letter? Is it an application for a sales call? Is it a long form written sales page? Is it a live challenge or live training that's for a day or for a week? Like, what is it? These are all methods that are perfectly acceptable, that are ways to get people to your offer. And you can drive them with organic or paid means, no matter what you choose. But choosing this model is important. So how do you decide? Well, you've got to test. And the trick here is you have to know your numbers. Knowing your numbers is so important. So here's an example of this in a business that the business that I've been working on with my buddy that I was talking about earlier. So we launched the same content in 2 methods. We decided, okay, let's do a live webinar training once a week. That's the one where we train every week for 3 weeks. And then the other one that we tried was a case study. It was a pre-filmed case study that we sent traffic to. Both were for the purpose to get applications, okay? So with the live webinar, we knew that with about $4,000 of ad spend, because our pixel was brand new, so our leads were more expensive, we could get 400 leads. That's about $10 a lead, okay, on average. From those 400 leads, we had about a 10% show up rate, which we are still working to improve. But a 10% show up rate, we had 40 people come. From those 40 people, we got anywhere from 6 to 10 applications, okay? So 6 to 10 applications. That means that each application on the low side is $400 per application. Our goal was, if we could run a case study, which was just a pre-filmed webinar, and drive people from the case study to apply for a phone call, and we could get calls that were cheaper than $400, then we would change strategies. Okay, we would move our traffic from the live webinar over to the case study, and vice versa. If the case study applications turned out being more expensive than the live webinar, then we would continue to run the live webinar. This is a really, really important thing to understand, guys, because when I talk to people about Facebook ads, like I talked to a friend just this week who was like, I could do this, or I could do this offer, or I could do this, or I could do this offer. She was like, what do you recommend? And I was like, I don't know. All of them? I mean, all of them were just fine. They were perfectly acceptable models and strategies to run traffic, but she wasn't sure where to focus. And the reason for that is, like, she didn't know the numbers. She didn't have the statistics to back up her choices. So if you're trying to figure out what model works, then you really need to test and make your numbers tell you the results of those tests. Again, you can do that organically. You can do that paid. It's totally up to you with how much time and money and experience that you have. Yes, it takes time to build out a selling system. It takes time to build out a live webinar then to also build out a case study. Luckily, I had a partner who's a genius at building out funnels, and so he has just absolutely crushed it. It's my buddy Ian Dixon. So Ian, if you listen to this, this is for you, man. You are just seriously a rock star at that. So know the numbers, okay? Number 4, and this one really relates to number 3 as well. But number 4 is, how much do you know about your audience? Okay? In order to decide how to drive your customers to your offer and what model to choose, it really comes down to how much you know about your audience. Now, what do I mean by this? If you have a lot of knowledge about your customer base, then your system can be more automated. Okay, now what do I mean by that? Well, if you know a lot about your customer base, your system can be more automated. That means that you could bring someone in through a Facebook ad, have them watch a webinar or a video sales letter or see a sales page, and have them go to an order form and purchase immediately without even talking to you. Because you know them so well, you can talk their language, you can speak to them as if you're in their brain, and so you don't have to spend your hours communicating with them and understanding what exactly they need and want so that you can sell them. It can be more automated the more you know about them. But if this is a new offer and you don't know a lot about them, you want it to be as in-person and personalized as possible. So a good example of this is with my buddy Ian and I, when we were doing these live webinars, we decided, one, to do them live instead of pre-recorded because we wanted to see how people reacted to each piece of information that we delivered. And we did that because we could see their live comments in the group thread, okay? The second thing we did is, instead of just giving them, pitching an offer and sending them to an order form directly on the webinar, we sent them to a sales call. Now, why did we do this? Because we wanted to see how a group of people would respond to content. And then we wanted to see what was actually in their heads as they were reviewing this content. What did they like? What did they dislike? What was awesome to them? What was unclear to them? What do they want to purchase? What is their threshold for spending money? How much do they believe in themselves? How long have they been in business? These were all things that we were trying to figure out. And so we knew the best way to do so was to be live with them. So we did live Facebook trainings. We did a live webinar. We did live calls taking their applications to apply for our coaching mastermind, because we needed to learn about them, because we had some good ideas for market dynamics because of our experience, but we didn't have it perfectly dialed in. And so we needed as much information from them as possible. So we chose to do something less automated, okay? So the degree to which you know your audience determines the degree to which your selling system can be automated. Okay, this is absolutely key to understand. Okay, guys, so important. So all of these are related, and I hope that as I've gone through each example, you can see how they are. So remember, the third D of dream traffic is we are deciding how to drive them to your product and offering. These are the aspects that you need to consider. 1, what type of traffic are you going to do? Paid or organic? 2, what is the offer you're driving them to? Is it what they need or what they want? Or a mixture of both. Honestly, it needs to be a mixture of both. 3, what is the model that you are using to deliver the offer through the traffic that you've chosen? Okay, is it a live experience, a pre-recorded experience, something they watch, something they read, something they listen to? What is it? And then 4, how much do you know about your audience? What you know about your audience directly determines the model and the offer, and honestly, the type of traffic that you do. So guys, those 4 things are absolutely important as you are deciding how to drive your dream traffic to your ecosystem. So my invitation to you is to decide how and act and pivot where necessary to make sure that you are driving traffic in a powerful way to your offer, to your expertise, so that you can help all the people out there that you dream of helping. And the important thing as you're doing this, guys, is to document this process like crazy. every single test that you do, every headline that you try out, every ad angle that you test, every model that you try with your audience, make sure to document it, because you'd be shocked to see like how often you're like, oh my gosh, I have this amazing idea. And then you come to find out that you actually tried it 3 months ago. Like, don't do that. Like, if you've already tried it and then you found out that it's a dud, don't try it again. Okay. Document these things. And anytime you have an idea, write it down so that when you are ready to go to your bank of ideas, you can go in there and absolutely find one and totally crush it. So that is super, super important. Document like crazy and read through those documents and make sure that you know what strategies are working and what strategies are total duds. All right, guys, we have now defined our dream traffic. We have discovered where our dream traffic is hanging out online, and we have decided how to drive them to your ecosystem. So now it's time to go out and create that dream traffic. So guys, go out and crush it. Super excited. Would love to know what you guys think about this episode. We are having conversations all about it in my free Facebook group, Facebook Ads for Coaches, Course Creators, and Lifestyle Brands. Get in there, chat about this, ask questions. I want to know, what are you thinking? What was helpful for you in this? And would love to just get your take on how this is adding value to your business. Also, by the way, we are always adding new resources to the Marketing Matrix Toolbox, which has tons of free marketing resources, which is gathered together from all of our podcast guests. It is updated all the time. So get in there, see what's new if you've already gotten access to it. If you don't yet have access to it, it is available to you for free. Go to toolbox.themarketingmatrixpodcast.com to get access to that today. Guys, we've got tools in there from Catherine Jones, Alex Elliott, Kevin Stephen, Henry Kaminsky, Nick Fitzgerald, Josh Forty. Guys, it is seriously unbelievable. So get in there and get those resources and get access to them for yourself. All right. So excited for you to be here with you on the Marketing Matrix. Can't wait for you to make these powerful decisions to just absolutely crush it in the online world so that you can reach your goals, spend time with your family, make an impact, make more money. You guys are awesome. All right. See you next time.